Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about evaluating ICOs. This is one of the recurring themes in the Telegram chat rooms. People have been bringing up projects, asking us to look at it, and there are some things you can do really quick to kind of quickly pass on many of these projects. And just remember, like 99.9% of these projects are probably just money grabs or companies that are going for a second chance. They just switch to a blockchain model to raise funds and survive. Or just people that are just scams and they're just trying to steal money. Now, when I say money grab and scams, there's two different things. One might actually legitimately be a project that wants to build something. In the scam case, they're just trying to get your money and disappear. Usually if you see a project that doesn't even mention the team at all, that's a big red flag. And then for this video itself, I want to stay at a high level. I want to kind of get the concepts of choosing not just a ICO, but like what is a venture capitalist mindset to pick and choose different projects, different teams, different ideas, and what are the good things to bet on, right? And even in venture capitalism, the rate of return is high, but the probability that you are correct is very low. And then in venture capitalism, it goes for many years, like decades in some cases. But with ICOs, the difference is there's immediate liquidity, so you can get your money back in theory. Although like nowadays, the really good ICOs have like 1-year lockups. But in theory, you get your money, you can kind of transfer it back within a couple of months or years versus the venture capitalism model, which is like 10 years, 3 to 10 years about. So it's funny, there's a very popular model called the W2F model. I don't know why they chose what the F versus like FTW model for the win instead. But the WTF model is basically this. It's double U, as in 2 U's. And the first U is a unique value proposition. And if you look at an ICO, the question is this project unique? Or is this a clone of other projects? And there's a lot of like infrastructure or blockchain projects that are platforms. Those I wouldn't consider as clones of each other as long as they're doing a different technology around it. In fact, most of the projects that we invest in are in fact these infrastructure or platform projects. But if you see a project come out and it says, yes, we're a new currency, we're going to be able to transact value back and forth or peer-to-peer, it doesn't actually change anything compared to things like Bitcoin, right? So when you look at the first thing, is this a unique value proposition? Does this bring something new to the table? Is it compelling? Is it a good business model? Right now, there's not really any good business models in blockchain because it's completely transforming the way value is created and transferred. So this is very interesting. The unique value proposition is very rare in many cases to all these projects. The second one is unfair advantage. So is this project that they're building, it's kind of similar to is it easily cloned, but it's also if somebody clones it, is it hard to catch up to where this project is at? So it's weird because in the blockchain world, a lot of these projects are in fact just forks of Ethereum. So they take the code, they copy it, they make some tweaks, and they call it a new blockchain. So again, it's a very interesting world that we're in compared to the venture capitalist traditional world. But I want to show some examples. So for example, you hear about like Zilliqa, and I'm spelling this wrong, aren't I? I'll just put Zil, Thunder, Algorand. These all have like academic different processes, different things behind it that other people in theory shouldn't be able to catch up to. And I want to mention these again. So for team, we're looking for teams that have very strong blockchain backgrounds. We're looking for founders that have created companies before or they're part of very successful companies. So basically the team is actually very rare as well. A lot of the projects you guys sent me, they don't have like very strong teams. They're just people that kind of worked at a company and they wanted to make a blockchain project. So team actually also eliminates a lot as well. And then the strong teams are the academic ones. So the ones like Thunder and Algorand, the ones that have a professor or researcher like an Oasis as well as another one that has they've been studying this all their life. They have a PhD in this subject and no one else is really doing it the same way. So there are some academic teams, there are some teams that have good history, and there are teams that are just very smart people. They have a lot of experience in this space or a lot of experience in delivering and executing good projects. So team is another very important thing we look at. Next one is technology. We mentioned this before with the unfair advantage, but some technologies, I'm going to start deleting these things so it's kind of not adding to it. But technology is like, is this technology new? Is it, again, we keep mentioning, can you clone it? Can it be replicated? The technology is very unique in a lot of situations. So for the Zilliqa case, it's sharding, but then all these other ones came out like Cork Chain, they're doing sharding as well. So basically, the first one that comes out is worth a lot, and then the next ones that come out, we don't know if they are as valuable or if they can retain value over time. So we're looking for new ways of implementing the technology, because blockchain isn't just blockchain. There's a lot of other ones like DAG, I'm sorry, I'm stuttering, which is direct acyclic graph. There's many different types of blockchain-ish. They're more like decentralized projects. But technology is just like, is there a new way of doing something that other people can't do, or it's hard for other people to follow? One of the things I didn't mention in unique value proposition was, or should I just say like privacy, for example, new paradigm, new business model. Yeah, I should probably write some notes for you guys. Unfair advantage, is this faster? Can people catch up? And then I'm gonna put team, can they execute? Do they have experience? And do they have a track record, right? Technology, new tech, others can't copy. And this is pretty similar to the first one as well. Okay, so the next one is traction. Traction is very important as well. Traction means like, do they have customers? Do they have revenue? For example, does this blockchain project have developers signed up for it? Do they have enterprise partnerships? Do they have high probability of users coming on board? So you see all these projects come up, very likely almost all of them aren't going to have any users. So if that's the case, you should not be investing in this ICO. So to summarize, will they have adoption is kind of, at this early stage, the main question. Does this project have future hope for adoption? So that's a huge piece. I think most projects are running into this problem now. Traction has slowed down. And then finally, finance and economics. So it's weird because in blockchain or in the traditional space, the first round is usually just like $1 million or $2 million. In blockchain, you see a lot of raises that are like $30 million. And you're like, well, do you really need $30 million? Maybe not. Maybe they're just assuming that they're doing a 10-year runway. So again, the question is, do they really need the amount they're asking for? And this is kind of where like hard cap, raise size, these all matter at this point. How hard is it to 10x, right? Because essentially what you want to do is 10x your money. You're taking a huge risk in investing in some of these projects and companies, and you want to increase the size of your investment. And if there's a company that's worth $1 billion and you put in $1,000, you're hoping for that 1 billion to become what, $10 billion? That's not very likely in the blockchain world right now. But if you see a project that's like $10 million and it's going to become $100 million, yeah, your $1,000 might actually become 10,000 in that case for this final category. So I put in 6 categories for you to look at when you approach a project. This is at a very high level. In this video, I won't go into evaluating white papers yet. I think it's a little too early, a little complex for this stage of learning. But I want you guys to just look at these 6 things when you look at any ICO that you stumble upon. And just to also point out, there's a big correction on how much an ICO should be raising. We mentioned that $30 million was like a typical size now. We think going forward, it's probably going to drop down to like 5 to 10 million. And then eventually in the long run, probably even less than that, because it's just insane to ask for $30 million and not really show anything for it and not have anything built. So these are the main points. I added a few more side notes here. Let's make this bigger so you can see it. But the other thing is who else is looking at it. So if you had a very vast network of other VCs, other funds, other companies, you want to know what they're looking at. And the only way to do that is just being connected with different groups, having a vast network, being very approachable, and then talking to a lot of people to find out what are all the projects people are looking at, what are the things that you're hearing that are red flags about some of these projects. Someone mentioned a project in the Telegram chat. We looked into the code, they showed the code base, and then they haven't been working on the project for 3 months. So things like that are you want to find out by tapping into your network of people. And then also, how hard is it to get in? If there's an ICO that is allowing everybody to get in, who do you think is going to buy it when it's released, right? So if for example, big ones were like Hashgraph, that are raising like hundreds of millions of dollars, and everybody was able to get in because it was such a large raise. And the question is, once everybody is in, once it releases to the market, who else is going to buy it, right? So that's something you got to be aware of. If you see an ICO that just is allowing everybody in, it's another red flag to be careful of. So hopefully this is a big start. We also have a spreadsheet right here that tracks not just the average scores from other people that review ICOs, but we also have a rating system that looks at kind of like the ICO start and end, the amount of tokens, the price. We look at the token supply, the hard cap, if they have a prototype, how good is their team or advisors. So there's other stats you can look at just on the overall that ICOs are really giving you up front. And then you can plug them into a spreadsheet and then generate a score for the ICO grade. A lot of YouTube reviewers and influencers are going to do it this way. But at a very high level, I think this is more important. Just like the traditional venture capitalist model, evaluating the team, the technology, the traction, the uniqueness, the token utility. These are all things that are unique to the token ICO world. So these are all, again, it's kind of a art. It's not really a science, but there is a lot of things that you can look at to, number one, avoid red flags, two, find high potential projects, and then of course, having a big network at the bottom here is key as well. Bringing information, sharing with people that you know. They can also help evaluate and know what other people are doing with these fundraisers as well. So hopefully that's a good start in part 1 of the Evaluating ICOs videos. I want to get some feedback from you guys in the community to see what other questions you have, and we can go from there and then kind of go into a deep dive on looking at a project directly, looking at the white paper, clicking through the teams and everything. But just keep these fundamental basics in mind when you see a new project, and kind of see if that helps you in the initial steps. So I'll see you in the Telegram chat, and we'll see you guys next time as well. Bye.